Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Joey Galvez, one half of your host of Explain Yourself, and I want to let you guys know about a really cool book from our friend of the show, Eli Shockey. This one is called The Greylock, and it's a story where magic is a commodity. Potions are sold at corner stores. Orcs and dwarves earn a living in cubicles, not on the battlefields. But there are those who resist the house's magic's laws. Branded a criminal and forced to live as a wand for hire, there is a spell slinger they call the Greylock. Check this one out. You guys can pre-order issue 3 right now with code JAN241939, and make sure you guys are heading over to your favorite LCS and letting them know that you want Greylock number 3, and maybe pick up the first 2 issues. You could do that at the Scout web store. So make sure you guys are grabbing the Greylock number 3, JAN241939 at previewsworld.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael Lee Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame Biden and Carter.
Okay, that's a bold choice of a name.
Is it?
I don't know.
We'll see how... Is bold the right word? No.
No.
See how... I'm not Biden, I'm Trump's Biden. Biden.
Okay.
Biden. I like the way he says Biden. Biden.
It's like you're biting.
It's hard to mimic, but...
It's like biting. No.
It is a little bit like Biden. Yeah. And, yeah, that's my name right now, so...
Alrighty. Well, you know what? Did you pay to get it changed?
No, this is just a purely
Because
one.
I was just going to ask you how it was spelled.
It was just going to be spelled BYE hyphen BIN.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Biden.
That's very beautiful, man.
Or like in The Mandalorian, where the guy is named Din, and he's like, "Bye, Din." Speaking of Mandalorian, he's also played by Pedro Pascal,
who, if I'm not mistaken, is on the TV show The Last of Us.
If I'm not mistaken either, yeah.
Yes. Another show where he is carrying around a young person across lands and
has special abilities.
Yes. Throughout the galaxy. Wait.
Well,
no, that doesn't happen in this show.
Not in this one. This is purely Earthbound. But
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe like by season 5.
Yeah, maybe we'll get into space.
It'll be like the Last of Us in space. And
yeah, the virus would have, the cordyceps would have spread into outer space by then.
Yeah,
or maybe that's where it came from. Ooh, interesting.
Could be. I'm still thinking it's like some Wonder Bread factory somewhere or something.
Could have been.
Yeah,
because they did mention about that could have been from the food processing plants or or what have you.
Or it was a lab in Wuhan.
Yeah, right. 11. Well, it did start Indonesia, so that's Asia, even though it's like somewhere near China.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not even sure if that's the video game even has Indonesia as the starting point.
They're both on the same planet, so
Yeah, they're close enough. They're both on the same planet.
Yes.
And
Maybe the cordyceps started on Coruscant, and so then it just ties in with the Mandalorian.
see, yeah, we can have like a multiversal story where Pedro Pascal, or not Pedro, the
Joel?
his multiverse other self happens to be the Mandalorian, and they both have like a similar story arc, and then they meet each other. They're like, wait, you're like carrying like this little green fellow across the galaxy because he's got special abilities. He's like, yeah. He's like, wait, you're carrying that girl around because, you know, she could cure the world of like a ravishing disease. He's like, yeah. And then they're like, ugh, I guess like we're not that different after all, or whatever, you know. Then it's like, then they're gonna have a Mandalorian, The Last of Us crossover movie called like The Last of Mandalorian or the Mandalorian of Us. I don't know. I have to come up with a different name. The Mandalorian of it all, or the Last of it all. I don't know. And or the Last of Grogu, or the Grogu of Us. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yes. We can brainstorm this later.
Yeah.
Anyways, folks, if you haven't gathered, we are covering part 2, meaning episodes 7, 8, and 9 for us, of The Last of Us, the HBO television series starring Pedro Pascal, as we've mentioned, along with Bella Ramsey and other people.
And other people.
Yes.
You know, these other people, you know,
Uh-huh.
they're pretty cool. They're pretty chill.
Yes. So 7, 8, and 9.
Mm-hmm. I
Where
like that.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9. Sorry. It's a cool sequence of numbers. Kind of reminds me of a song. 7, 8, 9. I don't know. They're
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm always afraid of 7 because 7, 8, 9.
Why?
Because 7.
Oh,
8,
I got
9.
you. 7, 8. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God.
You know, puns. Ellie likes puns a lot.
Yes.
That one kind of went over my head. As I got my head cut off. None doesn't make any sense.
So
I'm not good with puns. Well, I am, but not right now. I'm not.
it's okay.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, it is. It's fine.
I'm thinking that actually the way we solve all the problems in the world in the future is through puns.
Sure. You can try it.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We can still try it. It's better than what we've been trying. So
Yeah, it could help. So anyways, folks. So where we left off, Joel was stabbed during the struggle when they were on this college campus. And he fell to what appeared to be his death. So where we left off was probably a good spot where we thought Joel was dead.
yeah, yeah, it was a cliffhanger for sure.
Yes, or a Joel hanger. And that was bad. And so so the next episode that we had was episode 7, which was called Left Behind. And this was directed by Liza Johnson and written by Neil Druckmann. It aired on February 26th, 2023. So basically, Ellie and Joel go to this abandoned house, and Ellie's doing her best to try to save Joel. But, like, they have just, like, nothing in this house to really help her. Except for, like, a small first aid kit and stuff, and she ends up sewing up his wound with some thread she finds in a drawer.
Yeah.
while this is all going on, though, we flash back to when Ellie was in her Fedra military school, which she had attended with her best friend Riley. And Riley has been gone for a little bit from the military school. And Ellie's likes to fight, sort of. She just, but usually Riley would protect her. So what all happens here in this episode?
Yeah, she's, a fighter just like she is now. Yeah, I mean, she kind of gets, she punches one of the girls who started something with her. Then, she gets sent to like the principal's office or whoever, and he basically just kind of gives her the whole like speech of like, you're too smart to be doing this kind of thing. You need to think about your future, bro. Because pretty much like Fedra, there's really not like a lot of good jobs, for people.
Yeah.
So pretty much is like, very low to like, the middle. There's really nothing. There's really no like high class basically. So he basically is just kind of looking out for her. Doesn't want her being like basically saying like you're going to have to like take orders from people like the person she just punched or whatever, And then Riley comes back, sneaks back in her room. She had been gone for about 3 weeks or so. She asked Ellie to go out with her, curfew-wise, sneak out. She's got a surprise for her and all this kind of stuff. And she tells Ellie that she had joined the Fireflies, which are like the freedom fighters. They're like the patriots, if you will. Like, Fedra represents like the authoritarian rule. The Fireflies represent kind of like the revolutionaries who want freedom, etc. Even though we've seen that doesn't always turn out that well, because in Kansas City, they pretty much turn into like a revengeful commune almost, basically,
Yeah.
And so that didn't work out too well with Doreen. Was it Doreen? Who was the leader of? I think it was the leader of Doreen of Kansas City. I don't remember. It doesn't matter, but
yeah,
I think it was
whichever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, played by that actress. I don't know her name, but I like her. Seen her in. Well, she's one of those actors that I don't know their name.
Melanie Linsky.
Yeah, but like if I've seen them,
Kathleen,
I know I've.
Kathleen is who she played.
Yeah, sorry, Kathleen, not Doreen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of have like this dialogue back and forth of like, well, Fedra is really not that bad, is it? I mean, they kind of hold everything together, because she's just repeating what the guy told her, her teacher or whoever he is, the principal. I don't even know what title he had, but basically, I guess the overseer of new students or new recruits to basically become the new batch of officers and soldiers and whatnot. So he wanted her to be, on a sort of higher tier of that, so she wouldn't have to like, be basically doing like all the grunt work and not having any respect, people respect her, that kind of thing. So, in a way, he was kind of looking out for her, and, in the fucked up way that Fedra does, which, this show is interesting in a sense. It just kind of shows like the best that people try to make of like a fucked up situation, essentially. So it's like it's not so much that like, at least from my viewing of it, it's not so much that Fedra is viewed as like something that's inherently evil, like just evil dropped from the sky, or rather came from below, and it's like demonic or whatever. It's just like a government that forms. Like what do you do after this happens? Like, what I mean? Like there's
something's got to happen one way or the other. It's nobody's going to agree with everything. Like not like everybody agrees with stuff in this real world we live in.
Well, no, I just mean like, like nothing written in the books that says like what to do with like cordyceps take over the entire world and like all civilization burns down. Like, how do you build up a new government? I mean, it's going to be trial and error. So
I do believe, I mean, the cordyceps thing is a little different, but I do believe the government actually does have a zombie apocalypse plan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I read that somewhere years ago.
Oh, wow.
Back when I think it was back when like Walking Dead came out and stuff. Like they were.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But they actually looked it up, and I guess the federal government does have some kind of plan intact to what to do with the world if something like that were to happen. Some kind of big virus outbreak where people start eating brains, I guess, or something. I don't know.
So, yeah, that wouldn't even work though. How would you even be able to contain that? But
yeah,
I mean, you could try your best, but yeah. So anyway, they kind of talk, and then Riley takes him to a abandoned mall that was supposed to have like a bunch of clickers in it, I guess, but it was just sort of like kind of like a conspiracy theory to keep people trying to go in there, kind of thing.
Have fun.
Basically it's what it was. It was kind of like a story, like, oh, don't go in there. There's so many clickers in there. You don't want to go in the mall and play video games and all this kind of stuff. So
that's why I don't go to Disney World, is because I've heard
because
that.
the clicker. Yeah, the clickers.
But then I found out that they're just people dressed up like Winnie the Pooh and Goofy and whatnot. And I whatever.
It's the bloaters really gotta watch out for it. Yeah. If you see someone that looks like Ron DeSantis, it's the bloater. You gotta get out of the way. Sorry.
And he's not gonna show up to Disney though.
Well, yeah, good point. Yeah, exactly. So she turns on the power, and this is the first time Ellie. It's an interesting episode because it's like a stark contrast between like the very bleak and gray surrounding of all the other episodes where there's like nothing going on. It's just the open road. They're just trying to get different modes of transportation to get to where they're going, and that car breaks down. They gotta find a new vehicle or a horse or whatever. And then here in this episode, you see the entire mall just lights up in front of Ellie's eyes, like just one section of the mall following the next. And they go to the arcade where she gets to play Mortal Kombat 2, which she'd only heard about or read about like an old.
And I mean, the lights on and nobody there is pretty much what most malls look like nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so, it was a flashback episode, obviously, but it was just interesting to kind of see, like this old Ellie, who had like, a moment where she could just be like, a kid and not have to like basically be like a 40-year-old adult in a kid's body, just having to grow up way too fast, and in this new world, or whatever. And then unfortunately there's a clicker in there and it bites both her and Riley. Riley's just taking it like a champ. Ellie's furious and just throwing shit around because she just feels almost like angry that she got bit as opposed to being scared, that she got bit. And Riley convinces her to basically just have them wait until they both get infected or want to die from the infection instead of like killing themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course we know Ellie's immune, so that means Riley died before she did, and so she had to kill her essentially. And then we go back to, because in between this we're kind of going back and forth to her trying to find something to help Joel with, to fix up his wound, and then we're going back to the mall, scene. Because also Riley was going to join the Fireflies and go to Atlanta at one point.
Yeah, they were supposed to give her own, like, I don't know, like post there or something. Yeah.
Which made no sense because she's only been there for 3 weeks. That was kind of weird to me that, like...
Yeah, what is she, like 15 or something?
That's what I'm saying. Like, all right, you know everything you need to know. We're going to give you your own outpost. Like, it seemed kind of weird to me, but okay, I don't know.
It's like, who are we going to put the fate of the world in?
Yeah, some 15-year-old. Yeah, exactly. It just seemed weird to me.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it was longer than 3 weeks. Maybe she just lied to her and said it was 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But and then so at one point Ellie got mad at her because she's like, oh, that's all this was about, was just you want to say goodbye type of thing. And so, she walked out on her, but then she heard screaming, so then she went to go back, and it was just Riley playing with some kind of machine or whatever to trick her that she was screaming. And so that kind of goes back then to the present day where, she decides that, she's not going to walk out on Joel, so she's going to try to find whatever she can to kind of help out with his wound. And that's when she finds basically like the needle and thread to stitch it up, basically. And that's pretty much it for episode 7. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot, I mean, that was,
I mean, it was a good episode, pretty much. I mean, it's like, you see the love between the two characters in a way, their friendship, and they do kiss and everything, but it's interesting. And which foreshadows, I guess, in the second video game, there's a relationship with a woman that Ellie has in there. So, yeah.
Okay.
Or another young woman, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of research on the game, so I kind of know a little bit of what to expect in season 2, probably. So, which is fine. No big deal. I mean, I already watched the review of Shazam: Fury of the Gods, even though I haven't seen it yet. So I'm like, whatever. I want to know about it. And I was like, well, I want to know about it, even though I haven't seen it yet. So I just have to watch this review instead.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we have episode 8 then, which was called "When We Are in Need." This was directed by Ali Abbasi, Abbasi, I think it's Abbasi. Abbasi, whatever it would be. Written by Craig Mazin. Aired on March 5th of this year. 2023, if you're in the future.
The future.
And if you're in the future, can you just, somehow build a time machine and come back and just give me some lottery numbers? That's all I ask. It's just to help fund the podcast, nothing else.
Or give me 1 million Bitcoin that would then lose all of its value in one day.
Yeah. I don't know. Or just, give me the, score for the next Super Bowl or something.
Yeah. Or an almanac that has a bunch of gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, like the 2015. Wait.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Oh, wait. It's too late. Anyway, so
yeah.
So we got this episode, When We Are in Need, which Ellie leaves and Joel's still recovering, laying down on a stained mattress on the floor, and
very, very sanitary.
Yes.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to work with what you got.
Yeah, I know. She's out hunting for some food, and she shoots a deer.
Yeah.
She ends up tracking the deer and encounters this guy named David and his friend James. Before this, we did open up the episode a little bit with some background on these characters, where we see the town that they're in, and we realize that David is like a preacher. And like basically he's kind of like the leader of this almost like cult town, which was in no way trying to say bad things about Christianity. It was just trying to say bad things about people that are in power
and people who abuse power.
Yes.
And people who they use the most ready tools that are available to them in order to acquire said power.
Yeah.
There's no conspiracy to like make fun of Christians. It's like, think about it. You're a dude who wants to be a leader of a group. Everybody in that group is probably at least somewhat familiar with basic Christian teachings. Are you going to utilize that, or are you going to completely create a whole new religion that nobody's really heard of or is interested in? And then
I'd go with Jedi myself.
Well, I know, me too. But I'm just saying, like, in that world, that makes more sense, because,
my main reason for going for Jedi is because I've got this, like, kind of Sixth Sense that there's a guy that looks like a Mandalorian that's walking around, in
Yeah.
this world, and I thought maybe, him knowing a religion that exists in his own world, like maybe he would start to follow me.
I mean,
Does that make sense?
that's a good point. I mean, yeah, I mean that is really good. They should have gone that route if they were going to go with the whole crossover episode, but now they blew it. They blew it. Well, that's fine. Or he could have been the Sith religion.
Yes.
No, not really, because he's trying to pretend Jedi. So okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. You got to go for the good religion, not the.
Yeah. See, you can't make it that obvious. Yeah,
No.
that's the thing too. So it's like, I know some people are complaining about it being anti-Christian or whatever, but like the whole point is that he's a wolf in sheep's cloth.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Like, would it make sense if he's like, "Hail Satan"? You know what I mean? Like, it just would.
It wouldn't make any sense. I mean, it's not. It's obviously you're putting the bad actions in the bad guy's mouth. You're not putting it in his followers, really. You know that maybe some of his followers, but not like the women and children that are following him and stuff. It's they're following him because they're looking for some kind of salvation or some kind of hope in a world that's fucked up. So
yeah, 20 years after a ravishing pandemic of cordyceps. I mean,
and he's taken advantage of that. It's like I mean, it's like televangelists and stuff like that exist in our world. So.
But yeah, a much creepier scale, because we'll see why soon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's even like like the FDLS or something like that. It's like
yeah, exactly. That's what it kind of reminded me of almost a little bit. That's why I was almost wondering if that's what it was gonna be, actually, an FDLS community sort of like thrown in there. But they want to make it too specific, probably. But
yeah, I almost said at FDSL, but that's completely different. That's like
I mean, sorry. Wait, what's FDSL?
I was just thinking like a DSL like modem or something.
Oh,
it's like a fundamentalist modem. It's just
the fundamentalist. The modems have religions now. They've become sentient now. I'm a liberal modem. No, I'm a fundamentalist modem. All right, we're gonna battle each other. Meanwhile, the person's like, "I just want to watch fucking Netflix."
No, it's it's only Christian movies. That's it.
Damn it. No.
Okay, so it's that what was that, like Clearflix or something like that? That one that
Clear or the Pureflix? I don't remember now.
Pureflix.
There's a couple.
Something like that.
And there's also too a Muslim one called like Dean Tube or Halal Tube or something like that.
Of course there is.
It's only like Muslim. Of course, it's fundamentalist videos too. It's not like you're not going to find like progressive Muslims on that channel. You know what I mean?
You're not going to find that one movie about those Muslim punk rockers or whatever that we.
Oh
watched.
Yeah, the Taqwa Core. No, you're not going to find Taqwa Core.
No.
Both, either a documentary or the actual movie based off of that.
So, anyways,
that's a pretty cool documentary, though.
Oh, it is. I recommend it highly. The documentary and the movie both. They're both good. Yeah. So I might have to watch the movie again soon. If I can find it.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So anyways, Ellie's out hunting, and she runs into David and his fellow hunter James, who by the way, James is played by Troy Baker, who voices Joel in the video game series.
Nice.
So so we got James there and David, and basically she like, I don't think she was necessarily thinking this through anyways. I mean, even if there was nobody around, she shot this deer. I mean, I know it's a big deer and everything. I guess she could cut it up and take it back in pieces. But I'm just trying to figure out how this, 90-pound, teenage girl is going to bring back this, like, 200-pound deer or whatever it is,
Yeah, I don't think there was really a plan either. It was
Yeah,
just more for the moment. Like, oh shit, there's a deer. This could really feed us for like weeks or
yeah.
months or, just kind of thinking
Uh-huh.
in the moment as opposed to, I mean, I guess technically she could drag it, but even then, that would just take a lot of strength,
Oh yeah.
physical strength to really do that without taking breaks. And yeah, again, she wasn't really thinking. She just saw a deer and was like, "Oh shit, I gotta shoot this thing,"
Yeah.
and no, that kind of thing.
So anyways, she she tries to barter with them that she'll give them half the deer for like penicillin and stuff to help Joel. And it's basically, there's like these scenes between her and David. David reveals that the man uh who stabbed Joel in at that college campus and who they ended up killing was a member of their little cult. So and James really wants to get revenge for it. David has other plans that are basically
Mhm.
more fucked up. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yes. So um Ellie ends up leaving and she's going to treat Joel. Um David has decided to go and seek vengeance on Joel, not on Ellie, but on Joel, and sends out a bunch of men. They've basically followed her back to seek vengeance, so they know where Joel is.
Mhm.
Um, she flees to draw them away, but she ends up getting captured after her horse is shot, and she's
Mm,
knocked off the horse. That poor horse.
I know.
Um,
I always hate it when horses get shot in movies or
yeah.
shows. Like, god damn it, they didn't do anything. Like,
So after this point, what starts happening?
um, so we begin to see the old Joel that we've heard stories about that never actually saw in action. Extremely violent, extremely visceral, uh, just, just almost like a monster, just like no mercy whatsoever out of people that he's questioning. Because he ends up killing a few of the guys that were trying to kill him, and then he ends up knocking out two of them and is questioning them, but he's just torturing them severely. Like, I mean, way out of bounds than what's even necessary to even get information out of them. Really, at this point, he's just doing it out of anger or just bloodlust or whatever. And so we've heard stories about this version of Joel. They've done terrible things, in the past or whatever. Yeah. And, he's very protective of Ellie. So he's kind of almost become monstrous a little bit in order to find out, if she's safe or where she's at. And then he killed both of them even after they got the information he needed to. He didn't even spare their lives. So that was kind of fucked up. And then, um, meanwhile, Ellie's being held at their place, their town or out in their town square, don't know what you call it. They all kind of live in some sort of like dining hall area, it seems like, or maybe that's like their meetup place or whatever. Meetup, that's funny. So, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Meat.
Oh, good. I was
MEAT.
hoping that.
Yeah, I was just listening to you. Sorry.
Sorry. So it's been revealed, or at least it was implied that they eat human meat. Like, so the people of their groups that have died, they just eat each other. And I didn't really see this at first or understand this at first, but then, like, he brought back the deer, and then it was like they all kind of look at the deer, and he's like, "Oh, I brought a big one." And then like they kind of look back into like their bowls, and then they kind of look like horrified almost. And I didn't really understand why until after it was revealed that they're cannibals, where it's like, shit, we could have eaten a deer if we just waited a little
Well,
bit
the thing
longer.
is, I don't know how many of them knew it, because I don't know if they necessarily knew it.
Well, not everyone, but
Some
it
of
seemed
them,
like
yeah.
it did seem though that there was like at least a suspicion among the other people, even if they didn't know, because
Yeah.
they just had like
And I think
sort
probably
of like
they're like maybe like hierarchy in their group kind of knew, but
yeah,
you
I think only
yeah.
a few people knew directly what it was, and everyone else kind of just pretended to not know because they just kind of had this weird look about them, like they almost like they didn't want to know, even though they kind of well, just like put two and two together, because basically the episode actually begins and he's basically reading like the funeral rites of the guy who died trying to kill Joel.
And then
Apparently
they talk about how they can't bury him now because the ground's too
right. He goes, we'll bury
too
him in the
cold.
spring.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it's like,
you know, yeah, we'll bury him, but you know, he's gonna be in Charlie over their's stomach, and
exactly. So
you know, so
oh,
yeah.
you know, and plus too, then we know that they're not really great people then, because the only reason why Joel killed him is because he tried to kill Joel. I mean, that was, I mean, there wasn't any kind of malice going on. It was just defending Ellie and himself against these raiders that just happened to show up at the the university. And so David kind of goes into his whole villain speech, about how he doesn't really believe in Christianity. He actually believes in, like, I guess the religion of cordyceps or some weird shit like that, where like that's where he got the idea to like be like the cordyceps, I guess, because they kill because they love, or well, I don't remember, some weird thing he said. And then and that was like his inspiration to just like basically just like become like the bad version of himself that was always like lingering underneath or whatever. That the very, very kind of typical villain speech you hear over and over in a lot of different movies.
Yeah.
And and he does the whole like, you and me are not so different after all, kind of speech too, about how, Ellie's just like him. She's got a violent heart and he has a violent heart. And at first, you're thinking like, oh, okay, he's like a Sith Lord. He wants her to be like, his Darth Vader, until it's like, oh no, he wants her to be his wife, his child bride.
Yes.
That
That was creepy as fuck.
It's like, oh boy, this is getting weird. And
in an episode where we find out they're cannibals, that's even creepier for some reason.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like this whole community, I know, except that was the creepiest part. And then so she kind of plays along at first to kind of just get to drop his guard. And then she ends up twisting his hand with the bars, and then
like breaks his fingers or something.
Breaks his fingers, yeah. Then he brings James over, so they could basically just cut her up and serve her as the next dinner or next few dinners or whatever.
Yeah,
but
she ends up killing James, and escaping. Yeah.
And James, of course, has played, Joel in the video game, so that's kind of funny.
Kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then basically David hunts her down and tries to assault her. And they're in this like broom, and she sets it on fire, that big hall that they would eat in and stuff. And that scene was like intense.
Oh, I mean, it was super. I mean, because he was gonna rape her.
Yeah.
And he even literally said something like, I like it more when they fight. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like he's a fucking pedophile, dude. Like, and like a rapist at that. And not only that, he even talked about his past, how he was a teacher. And it's like, oh my God. So you start thinking about shit. Like, did he do shit in the past? Like before this even happened? Like the whole world, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's she like,
yeah, it's like when did this switch turn in his head? Was it before or
that's
after?
What I'm saying. It could have been after, who knows at this point. But and she brutally murders him. She stabs him like 20 times, like with all of her might, like, and just keeps Like, it reminds me of that scene from The Walking. I don't know if you saw season 4 of The Walking Dead.
No, I never made it that far, but that's fine. Yeah.
Well, there's this scene where they're like kind of like got caught up with like this sort of like biker kind of gang group or I don't know, something like that, and they end up finding Rick in the group and to try to kill them or take their stuff or whatever. And the one of the guys is gonna like, do something really horrible to Carl. I'm not gonna say what, but you could probably gather getting that. And then and the other guy's like holding Rick, and Rick ends up headbutting that dude, ends up like biting like part of his face off. Like, and then he goes over to the guy who was gonna do that to Carl, and he starts stabbing him. And like, you literally just hear like a stabbing sound for like 15 straight seconds afterwards. Like, he's just not done doing it. And the guy's like clearly dead. And it's like, I mean, it's just so brutal, man. It's terrible.
Yeah,
but like,
when it's emotional like this, of course you're going to keep doing it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's that sort of visceral rage that takes over, that has nothing to do with, utility of like getting the deed done. Like, and with her, it's much more different because she was the one that was actually going to be assaulted. Well, I guess not, because the parental type of protection type of anyway. So she sets the place on fire. She walks out of the building, and Joel kind of goes up to touch her, and she like starts freaking out. So now she's got like PTSD where she's like flinching and shit like every time I touch her from now on. Or anytime a guy's gonna touch her, so she was like screaming like, get off me, or whatever, until she realized it was Joel.
And he says, I got you, baby girl. Yeah.
Baby girl, which is what he called Sarah. Yeah. So now we clearly have proof that he views Ellie as his daughter now.
Yeah.
But we've already kind of known that for a while, but now it's like all but canon,
Yeah. And so then we go to the next episode.
Yeah, episode 9.
Yeah, the season finale, which is called Look for the Light, which was again directed by Ali Abbasi. This one was written by both Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, the creators of the show and stuff. They also were the creative directors behind the game. So
okay, cool.
Yeah. So we start out in a flashback, and we meet Ellie's mother, Anna, played by Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie in the video game. So in this, she plays Ellie's mom, a character that I guess was not in the video game. So and we kind of figure out how Ellie got her immunity. So Anna's giving birth. She runs into this house that I think they're like her and her people were staying at after being chased by some cordyceps, and she gives birth to Ellie. She's found by Marlene, who we met earlier. We find out that she was that while giving birth, she was bitten by one of the cordyceps.
Wow.
So, I guess that's what gave Ellie her immunity, was that it was in her system right before she gave birth. So,
yeah, and because to the umbilical cord. So maybe it's somebody that was like, like basically like a pipeline, a literal pipeline. Yeah.
So she's kind of like in a way like Blade, where he's he's like half human, half. I don't think she's like half cordyceps, but she's got
she's not. But
cordyceps stuff running through her brain and stuff. So yeah,
I'm surprised though, because it happened so fast. I mean, she literally gave birth to her like right after she got bit.
Maybe it had to happen that fast. If it happened earlier, she would have turned or something. Or
maybe.
Yeah.
Oh God, that That'd be horrifying if that.
Creepy little baby.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a baby cordyceps. They're coming to a toy store near you. Anyway, so the I'm sure they are actually. So you have these little cordyceps baby dolls. Anyways, because she's been bitten and everything, and probably going to turn, Marlene ends up killing Anna, at Anna's request. So then we hop back to our present day, and we find out that what happened to them. Well, Ellie finds out that what happened to Joel is that he had failed to commit suicide, and that's why he has that scar.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was after Sarah's death, because she had in the past said that he said a guy missed him, and then asked, what did you get the other guy? And he's like, we both missed, which yeah,
right.
He was both of them. So the
well, he's both the Mandalorian and Joel, so it was a multiversal thing. They both missed each other.
Yeah, but the Mandalorian is a better shot than Joel. So yeah,
yeah, he is.
We get to a point, and they're almost to the place where they need to be, and Firefly soldiers come by, and they capture Ellie and knock Joel unconscious. Joel is then woken up at the hospital with Marlene standing above him, and we learn what they're planning to do to Ellie to produce a cure. So yeah. Ellie is they basically have to kill her. The procedure will kill her. Basically, they have to take some stuff out of her brain to be able to create this cure for the outbreak. And Marlene refuses to let Joel see her, even though he wants to. Tells some guys to basically take him out to the highway with his backpack and leave him there. And then this was while this happened, before this happened, there was a cool scene where they saw some giraffes. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. The giraffes, yeah.
Which was weird. And I saw the behind the scenes photos, and the giraffe was real.
Oh really?
But the building they were standing on was all done in post.
Okay.
So the wall was basically just a blue screen.
Okay.
So it's just funny that the one thing I thought was fake in the scene was actually real.
They built around the giraffe. That's kind of cool.
So but anyways, that whole thing, I mean, it kind of just showed that there's still like almost like life finds a way in the world after this is happening. You got these
it was
giraffes.
like a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And plus too, that kind of brought Ellie back to herself, because she's been kind of flighty lately after the traumatic experiences where she's kind
like
of
a PTSD sort of thing.
Yeah, she's kind of in her own head, and Joel has to keep asking her things like 3 times before she'll like register that he's talking to her.
Yeah.
Kind of has that sort of like shell shock kind of like thing going on, which, I mean, I don't blame her. I mean,
no, I would be too if I were her. Yeah.
Crazy cannibal pedophiles trying to, they're, inside of a weird dining hall or that's burning around. Yeah. But then, they see the giraffes. She
in what looks like an old German restaurant or something. Yeah.
And of course, I can just show you can't ever enjoy anything for more than 2 seconds before another threat appears. Yeah. And so Joel kills a bunch of people.
Yeah. Yeah, basically what ends up happening is Joel is being taken away, but then he ends up basically killing everybody to get to Ellie in the hospital in like a really cool, almost video game like scene, you know.
What I liked about the scene is that you
Yeah.
didn't even hear like the gunshots. It was
Uh.
just all muted,
Uh-huh.
and it was all music basically.
Yeah.
I like that aspect. Where you
Uh-huh.
didn't even hear like the bullets or people like shouting or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just like a cool little murder montage.
Yes. Like you
You
do.
know, like you do a murder montage.
Yes. That's
You know?
that's what you do. Anyways, so basically Joel ends up carrying an unconscious Ellie from the hospital after, killing the doctors and everybody too. So
Well, no, he let two of them live.
yeah, the two
Well,
like
we
that.
think he does. Who knows?
Maybe, who knows? So so basically when he's about to get out of there, Marlene intercepts them in the parking garage. And stating that there's still time to find a cure, but Joel ends up shooting her and killing her. And so then they're driving away, and Ellie wakes up in the back seat. He lies to her, tells her that the Fireflies had already failed to develop a cure from other immune people, which don't exist. And they
we don't know.
Yeah, there could be. Who knows?
Other people who have had similar.
Yeah.
Like someone gave birth right after they got bit in the world. We don't know, but it's probably happened a few times.
Yeah, but they probably hadn't tried to do anything. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. As they so then they hike to Jackson where Tommy is. And Ellie somehow I think doesn't believe Joel.
No, she doesn't really.
She says insists Joel swear that his story is true. And he does, and she just replies okay, and then we end our season.
Yeah, that's pretty much, that's literally the end. Yeah, I don't think she really believed, because a lot of his story didn't really make a lot of sense of like why doesn't she have her clothes? Oh, it's because Raiders came right at that moment. Okay. Like, that just seems convenient. And then there's something else too. I forgot what it was. Something else was missing. I don't remember now what it was. But
yeah.
So, for some reason, there's like this huge debate now about like whether Joel do was right or wrong or whatever. And it's
yeah,
like,
I mean, they had the same debate, I guess, when the video game came out.
It's clearly right. The only reason I'd say that is because if I think Ellie being how she is, and she'd really bought into this idea that like she possesses the cure or at least the potential for a cure.
Yeah.
That she would have gone along with the procedure and just sacrificed her life. So my whole thing is, did Marlene tell her beforehand that was what's going to happen?
Yeah, and I guess we'll find out.
But then again, why not then tell Joel the truth?
Yeah.
That again, like, you wouldn't have an episode with cool shit happening if that was like, by the way,
and if you told them that, then all those guys could have lived. That was,
That's what I'm saying. You made the show would leave on a really bad cliffhanger. You see here, she wrote a waiver, signed it, and everything. I, Ellie, hereby declare that I agree to this procedure that will most definitely end my life in order to. I mean, you wouldn't really have a great show. You just have like a lawyer type show. So, but I do think that. But that's the thing. Marlene is not really a good person.
No.
So I don't think Marlene would even take the chance of even telling her that.
I mean, the thing is
giving her the choice.
Marlene isn't necessarily a bad person either. She's
but she's not
like
good.
Her point of view is like that she wants to save the world, which makes sense, and it's like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, as they say in like Star Trek and stuff. But
they do, but you can't. But
still, even in that world, they've done things that disobey that many times, and it's like, would you want to live in a world where they are killing 15-year-olds to save the rest of
Exactly.
the world. I mean, the thing is, it's like, if you let her, I mean, I know it's going to be years down the road, but if you let her become an adult and then decide to be the cure, I guess that might be different. But, you know, but when she's like, what is she, like 15 or something? So, yeah.
Yeah, she's just a kid.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's what I would have done, because again, it's just like, you know, because, you know, what if, let's say, you know, it doesn't work out. So you killed someone, so now you're going to be looking for other people who have the same thing going on, and then you're going to be basically kidnapping them and then taking them to labs and doing the same shit in order to, quote, save the world. But then you've saved the world eventually by kidnapping children and killing them. Not exactly the greatest thing to do. You know? And again, too, it's like everybody's, you know, not to get morbid here, but everybody's pretty much gotten used to living like this at this point. So, like, nothing's really going to change for people if they don't even know that there was a potential cure to begin with. So, it's not like the whole world knew that Ellie was going to this lab or what, you know what I mean? They're like, oh my God, we're going to get a cure, you know, and then
it
it's
wasn't
like,
all over TikTok, right? No.
There was quarter talk. No, I don't know. I keep thinking of a good pun, but I mean,
Instacordyceps or something.
There is debate, but I would clearly be on the side of Joel, where it's like I'm gonna save the kid. Like, I don't fucking care about the world at that point.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like, I know that might seem like you know, whatever, but it's like, no, I'm not gonna let you kill a kid without even asking them if they're okay with the procedure.
Yeah.
And even then, like, even asking consent of a 15-year-old for that kind of question is really not even that great of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even the age of consent for drinking or anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
You're
like
going to the army or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So
it's like,
voting, you can't even vote till you're 21. No, it's 18. You can vote, but
but still, yeah.
So it's, you know, even if she did say yes, I agree to this, it's like, yeah, but plus two, you know, Marlene sort of manipulated her into thinking that already planted that idea in her head a long time ago that she's, you know, she's the only person that could save humanity and all this kind of stuff, and, you know, then brought up Riley because she knew that Riley was her friend, so she brought up that kind of thing, like, oh well, like, do this for Riley. Kind of, I mean, she didn't say that, but that was kind of implied, you know. And so yeah, Marlene, again, she's not exactly a great person. She is very manipulative, you know, and her convincing Ellie to even make this trip in the first place, and let alone not even really telling her the full extent of like what this actually means for her. Like, yeah, we're gonna have to like literally dick shit out of your brain, bro, and then you're gonna die. Like, you know, it's like, oh well, it's painless. I'm like, oh, it's so merciful. You know, I mean, you're gonna tell me that you weren't gonna dig around someone's brain without you know, putting them under first? Oh my God, Nobel Peace Prize over here. That makes sense, because the guy who they made Nobel Peace Prize actually was a terrible dude. Anyway, the guy was like a crazy like warmonger, and then they named the Peace Prize after him for some reason.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it. I forgot the guy's full name, but yeah, I think he was like, it's kind of like the whole like Rhodes Scholar, you know, Rhodes Scholarship, you know, like Cecil Rhodes was like a terrible person.
Oh yeah.
Like Rhodesia, the country now called Zimbabwe, was like his little like kingdom inside of Africa, basically. And like they just make these little things up to make it seem like they're good people. Like, oh, I got a Rhodes Scholarship. It sounds like, you know, some like cool thing.
Well, yeah,
named
I knew that about Rhodes. I didn't know about so interesting.
I mean, it's kind of like having like a Hitler Scholarship. Oh, I got myself a Hitler Scholarship. Pretty cool. You're like, wait, what? Like, yeah, you know, it's all expenses paid for, you know, 1 year of Nazi education. No.
Well, yeah, I'd say, you know, we'll do some research on that too to make sure. But yeah.
No, you'll take my word for it.
Okay.
you'll take my word because you don't need research when it comes to
you'll
me.
take my word that Winnie the Pooh and Goofy are going to attack you.
Everything I say is true. I don't need to be double checked or triple checked for that matter, because I'm Tucker Carlson and you got to believe everything I say. So, no.
Yeah, I'm looking through his Wikipedia, and I'm not seeing much bad about him. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yes.
I might have just
conflated him with somebody else, probably.
I could have.
Yeah.
I very much could have.
Yeah. But I could be wrong too. I'm gonna read it in more detail later. But so any other thoughts here before we wrap things up?
No.
Alrighty then. So folks, if you're listening during March here, there's t-shirts you can buy. I'll put a link in the show notes. You can get some Cullen Park t-shirts. They're nice green t-shirts, and they got hoodies as well with our logo on there in black. So $20 for the t-shirts. I'm not sure how much the hoodies are, but half of the proceeds from those go right into Cullen Park, which will help fund this podcast and any movies or music or anything we do in the future.
Yeah.
So get on that, folks. That's a good way to help us right now.
Yeah.
This month. But after that, we've got our TeePublic. You can get shirts there. Also, we have Patreon. You can help us out there. Best way to help us is just to share the show. And tag us in the share there, so we know you shared it. And,
tag it up,
and we might have some prizes in the future. I'm still working on some ideas here. But also go to all2real2.com for everything. You can find where you can follow our show there, all of our social medias and all that stuff. And just remember that you got to be nice to everybody. Don't be a weird, crazy cannibal.
No, don't do it.
Yeah, and don't, kill 15-year-olds to save the world.
Yeah.
And just remember that I love you, and my good friend Sesame loves you.
Sesame Biden
loves you. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.